Hey everybody, Aaron from the Ballpit here, back with another episode of Writer's Block, which is essentially just a show that exists for me to discuss and talk about any really creative interest or pursuit that is stimulating me in the moment. And for this week, I wanted to do a review of I See Dead People by Dedboii Kez, which is an album that dropped on February 6th, I believe, which is his birthday, and is one that I was very excited to leading up to the album's release. For all of those of you that do know me and do kind of know my music preferences, Dedboii Kez is one of my most listened to artists. He's one of my favorite artists. I like his style, and I think he makes good quality music. And I think a big reason why I really think his music is quality, why I like it so much, is I think he might have tweeted this at some point. I don't remember, but I remember him saying this, or like me seeing that he said this at some point, that his music, maybe it was even just about a specific album or EP, but his music was meant to be felt instead of like logically understood. And at that time, and still to me now, that's kind of akin to how I view art in general, is I want something that's going to bring about emotional or just like thought in me, rather than me being like, oh, that's a cool style, you rapped fast there, oh, that's cool, like, that's cool that you did that, oh, that's a cool brushstroke on that. Like, no, I want something that's creatively interesting or thoughtful or emotionally provoking in some way, which is kind of what Kez goes for in his music. Leading up to the drop of I See Dead People, I knew it was going to be something that was very vulnerable, very emotionally provoking, possibly very sad, and go from there. So I'm going to get right into my thoughts on each individual song in order, and then at the end I'll talk more about my overall thoughts of the album itself. So the first song, called I Died, and I'm just going to play this for myself, and I'll probably insert a little clip of it like in here so you guys kind of get a little refresher if it's been a minute since you listened to it. That was I Died, and immediately upon opening, it just feels different than every Kez album opening, I guess, or album intro that has come before, which I think shows his kind of progressive growth through his projects. Like, you see him progressively getting like not only like kind of more and more confident in his musical ability, which leads him to kind of like trying new and newer things and getting further out there, but also just, you can just tell in the craftsmanship of the music that it's better made, and he's taking more pride in it, and, he's just developed more skill in it. And I feel like it kind of opens, talking a lot about isolation, both physically and emotionally, which I personally believe is in part due to a continuation from his last album drop, which, if you don't know, he dropped an album in August, like mid-August or something, that was a breakup album. It was called Heart Melt Summer. It was like a hyper-pop summer, like, breakup album type of thing, which I very much enjoyed, especially because I had broken up with my girlfriend of like 8 months at the time on August 1st. So when that came out like 2 weeks later, I was like, I've been given exactly what I need right now. And I feel like the opening was almost theatrical. That's the word. Theatrical in a way. It sets the tone in a very effective manner, in the sense that you understand that this is going to be an album that is incredibly vulnerable, in which Kez really isn't holding anything back. And like with this opening, typically in kind of greater hip hop, I'm not gonna say typically, like it's every case, but in a lot of cases, when people make sad, depressing songs, very rarely do you see them display the amount of raw emotion that Kez just did in this opening, which again I think sets the scene for this album in a lot of ways. So it was a good opening, and now we get to move on to the next song, which is Cold Winters, which is one of my favorites on this album. Actually, I really enjoy it. My little baby over here, she'll be fucking till the morning, touching on my arms with my wrist split open, losing sleep and losing focus. She's my source of serotonin. So that was Cold Winters. Again, one of my favorites. In the opening of Cold Winters, there's the sound of fire crackling, which obviously coincides with the title, Cold Winters. But I did originally think, like, the first time I listened to the album, I was like, damn, are these fucking headphones broken? I had to play that shit on my phone through the speakers. And I was like, oh no, that's supposed to be there. It's just because I have shitty headphones. Like, it's nothing about the quality of it. But opening it up more into the serious note of the song, it seems like Cold Winters is it's symbolic and both in an emotional and physical plane of existence. It seems to exist. So obviously, the winter itself is cold. You know, we're in winter right now. I mean, it's not cold right now. At least up where I am, it's like fucking 60 degrees in February. It's ridiculous. But the winter was cold both because it's winter and it's cold, but also because he doesn't have the love and the warmth from that prior relationship, which, you know, he's hurting from. And it feels even colder because you're used to that warmth and now you don't have it, which again, I can relate in my personal situation because last winter I had a relationship and then obviously I broke up in the summertime, but you know, it's been, I can feel like a colder winter, especially considering last one because I had somebody there. And it paints a vivid image of this like loveless, cold relationship and Kez has almost become addicted to his partner. And they seem to be using Kez for sex, either like unaware or just uncaring of his problems and his pain. And that's kind of the same with his friends. So Kez paints this image of isolation where he is dealing with all this stuff in a sort of Sisyphean manner, just climbing this mountain all the time. His problems keep resetting. He can't get over this hump, and nobody in his life seems to care. They all either seem to just be unaware of this happening, or they just genuinely don't give a fuck about his issues. And what's crazy is that you can actually become addicted to a person. It's insane, right? Which this is what this reminded me of. Because, you know, for several reasons, in college, I'm a sociologist that wants to study addiction in society. And you can become addicted to a person because sometimes being around a person, spending time with them, brings you so much happiness, so many happy-go-lucky chemicals like dopamine and shit in your brain. Serotonin, he even said, she's my source of serotonin. That, like, you can become addicted to being around them. So when you can, like, your body become used to it. So when you're not around that person for a period of time, you feel even sadder and lower and darker and downer than before because you don't have that consistent source of happiness that your body has grown adjusted to. So enough of Cold Winters, and now we're going to enter Rejuvenation. And before that starts, I would just like to shout out Code Blue, who is the feature on this project. You was just an evil bitch. Said I love the movie, but you really out there looking for the sequel, bitch. You're the sequel. All right, so that was Rejuvenation. Again, shout out Code Blue for the feature. And this song seems almost like a natural continuation of Cold Winters. And also at the beginning, I have to say, Kez admits that he's chronically online, which I very much can relate to. I'm on Twitter way too much for my own good, my own health, and my own safety. But I just can't get off of it, man. It's like drugs. And in this song, which even more so in Cold Winters, it seems to almost have turned his viewpoint for his former partner a lot more negative, a lot darker, and more blaming of the partner than before, which in Cold Winters almost just felt like just reacting to the loss. And honestly, like, something to especially say about this song in particular is that the voice work is beautiful. Like, Kez sounds absolutely amazing on this song. And it seems to be, in a sense, like Rejuvenation. Like, he's trying to get over this girl and just through that process, gain new energy and rejuvenate himself, hence the name. New energy into kind of a fuck you sort of mentality, because that's the, excuse me, Duolingo. I'm recording a video here. I don't need you telling me about me falling behind in my lessons. Sorry. Anyways. An easy way to get over a relationship is to almost view your partner as negative and something to get away from, because then it doesn't have you having these long nights where you're just regretting what happened, wishing you could get back. It's just a way for you to move on. And another thing I want to bring up from both Cold Winters and this song is the idea of non-reciprocal relationships. So the idea that you as a person are putting all this energy, all this time, all these resources into like a relationship, either romantic or a friendship or whatever, and you're just not getting that same energy back. That energy is not being reciprocated, so it's you putting in like 95, 100, most of the energy into this relationship, while the other person, friend, family member, romantic partner, whatever the case may be, is just not giving you the same energy, and it sucks, man. It really sucks. And it seems like this is something that Kez is going through with the partner that he's discussing in this album. So the next song is My Mistakes.
Dying on the floor, crying all alone inside my room, 1 foot in the grave, I cannot be saved.
Alright, that was My Mistakes, which again brings up the reoccurring motif that we've explored in the last 2 songs, which is non-reciprocal relationships. Feeling like you're giving your all and they're just not giving anything back. And so if you keep wondering why I'm looking off here, it says where my notes are. I took notes. So it says all the self-worth that Kez has seems to be tied to his partner in such a way that they are the balance beam between life and death for Kez, to where he is going to die unless they give Kez a reason to stay. And the song's obviously called My Mistakes. Kez repeats about his mistakes multiple times, and when referring to his mistakes, he specifically basically states that his mistakes are engaging in these non-reciprocal relationships, and the fact that he's living in the first place and hasn't been able to unalive himself. I hate that phrase, but I don't know how YouTube responds to me using a more common synonymal phrase for such. All right, moving on to Dead Love, which is the next song, and that might be the no, definitely not the middle. Definitely not the middle. There's 12 songs, so like 6 would be middle. It's only the 5th.
Everything I hold on my shoulders is over the moon.
So that song was Dead Love, obviously. And just, again, from my notes, and again, I can't say that everything I'm saying is the objective, correct truth about the song. It's just my takeaway from it. So this song, in my opinion, seems to be about the death of love. Name, Dead Love. Love is dead. And because of such, Kez feels lonely and restless, which, as he mentioned in the song, that no home or place to go. And home doesn't refer to a place with walls and a roof to stay. It's more the emotional attachment you have to a place where it feels like that's where you belong, that's your place, it's where you're supposed to be, right? And it just, he feels like he's kind of endlessly bouncing in the realm of the living where he doesn't belong. Like, this isn't the realm, the reality, the plane of existence in which he belongs, which is why he doesn't feel at home here. Moving on to the next song, which is another one of my favorites, along with Cold Winters, which is Here in My Mind. Shout out, produced by Krusty, or Prod by Krusty is the official tag name. So go check him out as well for being the feature on this song. I live in a purgatory. Everything is worse for me. I'm seeming alive. I'm bleeding out. 'Cause I live in a purgatory. Every day is certain for me. And I had to be dead. Then without you, you're in my mind. Yes, so I really, I really enjoy that song. Here in my mind's definitely one of the tops on there. Probably top three. Might even be one, just because like the chorus is just so sing-alongable. So obviously, his mind is a purgatory, where he's kind of trapped. And it seems as though Kez is describing how the images or memories of this partner just kind of play in his mind, trapping him in the past, in these past memories, and he can't get out. He can't leave. He's just kind of stuck in the glowing, falsified memories of the past, which is it's a common thing that happens in breakups, because when you break up and you start regretting it, start missing the person, you start forgetting the reasons why you broke up in the first place, the reasons you weren't compatible in the first place, whatever the case may be. You start forgetting about those things because your mind is just playing you these really rose-tinted images or memories that just aren't akin to how it really was with them in a relationship. And I said at the end of my notes, this one physically moved me, mostly because just like the I live in a purgatory is just so powerful. It just makes me just want to shmove, bro. I'd literally be like full on like singing in my car, bro. When I be driving, I'd be playing this shit, man. It's nuts. And so the next song is Red Velvet, which is it's definitely top three for me, along with Here in My Mind and Cold Winters. This is gonna round out my top three.
She is my red velvet. I should let her go, I'm too selfish. Follow her to hell, I can't help it. All my balance dialed to 11. I've been dying in my severance. Fucked up my connection. Ain't nobody dying like me, I don't get it. If I die an angel, I won't ever get to heaven.
Fuck, bro.
Do you even?
So in Red Velvet, immediately makes me think of the cake, Red Velvet Cake, which is quite often compared to Devil's Food Cake. I'm pretty sure that they're different, but that they're compared a lot. I don't know. I'm not a fucking cake doctor. I just know that they're connected in some way. And so with Devil's Food Cake, it seems like his partner, or ex-partner, I guess, is temptation, is tempting Kez, and that he's kind of unable to avoid said temptation. And this song in general has a lot of kind of demonic imagery, symbolism, I don't fucking know. A lot of demonic shit in it. So obviously Devil's Food Cake, Red Velvet Cake, Kez says, if I die an angel, I'll never get to heaven. If you don't know, like in the Bible, there are certain angels, such as Lucifer, and other ones that when they revolted against God, they were cast down to hell. And so, like Lucifer, for example, and Satan are actually former angels. So that also has demonic imagery in a sense. He won't be able to go to heaven as an angel. It means he's going to hell. There's a lot of emotion in this one, which is one of the reasons I think I like it. I like the songs that have a lot of just kind of really like they have a lot of like really searing emotion to them. And this is one of them, which is why it is in my top three. And now we're leading into Cigarette Smoke, which I think is probably my fifth. I do have like fourth, fifth. I think Cigarette Smoke is probably my fifth favorite on the album, which it has 12, so I guess that's not like a huge compliment, but it is up there for me. It's in my top 5.
She flicks cigarettes off the ceiling fans. She see through like cellophane. Don't know what she sees in him. And she changes like the seasons. She don't need a reason to break my heart.
With this song, I want a music video. I want a music video. This is the one I want a music video for. And part of it is because the entire, like, the kind of the imagery of smoking cigarettes in relation to women or stress related to a partner is one of my favorite sources, like especially recently in terms of symbolic imagery with examples like
Where did you go? Smoking in the rain again.
or in
Wait a minute, this love started off so tender, so sweet. But now she got me
Smoking out the window.
obviously the vocals on this are insane as well. And this might be a bit of a stretch, but something I wrote down in my notes is the love for his Kez's partner lingers in his brain like cigarette smoke in the air, which I think I was low-key spitting when I wrote this shit. Y'all can let me know if I'm tripping or not, but I think I was spitting with that. And as the ending, it says, it's probably best to move on. And for me personally, I've established a rule in my life, which is I give my partners one chance. If I'm dating somebody, they get one chance, one opportunity to seize everything they ever wanted. I'm just playing. But they get one chance. So, like, if I break up with a partner, that's it, bro. It's a wrap. Cut it out, bro. You don't get a second chance, bro. I'm not, because I had a relationship in the past where it was like break up, a couple days later, back together. Break up, a couple days later, back together. And it's just this cycle of toxicity. It's like, I'm not doing it, bro. If I break up with somebody, that's it. I'm taking the time I need to heal, to better myself, to move on, and that's it, bro. There is no coming back from that. There is none. That's my little personal tie-in to this song right here. All right, now we have Let Me Go, which is one of the singles for this album before it released and is number 4 on my spot. It's an insane run. It's an insane run to go from Here in My Mind, Red Velvet, Cigarette Smoke to Let Me Go. Insane run on this album, bro. It's crazy. So we're going to get into this. This one, the clip of me listening to this song might be a bit embarrassing for me. So we'll just see. Just let me go. Sorry about that one, guys. I just can't, bro. That song have me belting out every time. I can't listen to it silently. I think my roommate just left my apartment. Sorry, guys. So in this song, the part where he said, yeah, my roommate definitely just left. Where he said that he's breaking bread with demons to feel alive. It reminded me a bit of drug addiction because kind of interacting with demons is a common way to refer to drug addiction. Like I know taking certain substances is called like you're dancing with the devil or whatever. Obviously the devil's lettuce is marijuana. So that kind of just reminded me of that. So the emotions on this one are just so powerful. The vocals are insane. Instrumental is insane. The just emotional weight is insane. The song is just crazy. It's just crazy. I think the only reason that it is 4 and not higher for me is because I've played it a lot. I played it a little too much. It's not my favorite of the kind of like singles that came. I mean, not Last Night's not one of my favorites, but Bye Bye that's top tier, bro. I love that song so much. That's not on this album. Anyways, what is on this album is Last Night, which is the second and final single that was released before this album's drop. So that was Last Night, second single off this album. Again, it's another song about feeling isolated, even with friends present, which again is akin back to all the way to the second song, Cold Winters. It's a reoccurring theme in this album. And another thing I wrote down in my notes, which isn't super important, but Kez, if you are listening this far in, hello, I'm glad you stuck around this far. But also, I wrote down that you should Twitch stream more. So you should do that more, because that overanalyzing Avatar stream was phenomenal. Big fan of that. All right, moving on from that, we're going into Bitter, which is the penultimate song on this album. I think penultimate means that, like, the one before the last. I hope so. If not, I just sound dumb. Whatever, don't care.
Follow me deeper into this world unknown, where I could get what I wanted if I just sold my soul. And I might take the offer. It's way too fucking hard for me just staying off it. Please come save me. It's just darkness, all I see. I know my heart don't break it, please.
So off of Bitter, again, insane vocal performance, which has, again, been something reoccurring throughout the album. One of my favorite lines from that I just wanted to point out is, "My heart don't break, it bleeds." I just really love, like, kind of the imagery of that line. And I said on my notes that Bitter comes into play for the bitter end, though there is still another song on this project, which is the final song of the album, called "I Don't Like to Talk About My Feelings."
The fireflies were brighter back then than tonight. And you can't even hear the birds chirping even in silence.
So this song, the production on it and just the sound of it, it feels like the song that I would listen to as I'm dying, which I guess is a fitting end to this song in a sense. So a couple of things I'd like to say about that. Especially related to self-love, where essentially Kez just talking about how his image of himself never kind of fits what he wants. So, like, other people may see him positively, but he never sees himself in that same positive way that the people around him see him as. And it's a really hard thing. And I mean, millions of people struggle with that. We're just finding that love for yourself is the hardest thing. That confidence, like, you see yourself differently than other people see you. And that's, I mean, it's a really, like, poignant and strong way to wrap up this project. And Sal saying that about the wrap up of the project. Here are my just kind of overall closing thoughts on the album. So, this album holds a lot of different themes. Isolation, even when you're around others, is a big one. Just feeling empty, like you don't have anywhere to go, no home, like you don't feel like you belong anywhere. Even when you're around people that love you, a bunch of people, you still feel alone. That's like a main one. Non-reciprocal relationships, I mentioned several times, is another one, which probably leads a lot to the feeling of isolation. There's depression, unending sadness, and even that feeling of being so broken as a person that you're beyond repair. And because of that, you're just not good enough. You can never see yourself as positive because you feel so broken and unfixable that you don't see the worth in yourself. You see yourself as a piece of trash because you don't feel like people that you're deserving of being around a lot of other people. And they all just kind of tie together into this just overall album just about pain. It's just about pain and emotion and just those unsaid thoughts that you have in your brain, and you don't want to tell them to anybody because you if you tell them to somebody, you're afraid they either won't care, won't understand, or will like be scared of you in a way. And that's a big reason why I really like this album. It gives an outlet for those type of thoughts and emotions that you don't really get in a lot of different avenues in your life. And then more on a beyond just this album note. It's obviously an amazing album, and it shows, again, like I said, a lot of growth from Kez. Talk about an insane work rate. The Kez is just phenomenal. He makes a lot of, like, really solid music, and I I really hope I tell a bunch of people that like really enjoy music and I think that they'll like him to check out his stuff. And, hopefully he'll just continue to grow and get to a point where more people will hear his stuff, because I genuinely believe that, like, especially in this album, this is the first album where I'm like really like, wow, this guy needs to have his art and his voice heard by a bunch of others, because I genuinely think that Kez can be a helpful force for people. And then obviously I'm excited for the future of Kez. As I just said, I'm excited to see him on the Pokemon Cypher that's coming out, Shofu's Pokemon Cypher. I'm excited to see what music comes out with next. I'm excited. Hopefully he's going to Twitch stream more. I think he will be. I've seen more streams from him. I'm excited to see Downhill, his little music collect. I don't want to say little as though I'm insulting it, but his music collective that him and others have created. I'd love to see that grow too. Is little his not little. I don't want to insult. I don't know why I say little. It's not little. It's sizable. It's important. It is impressive. Like it's decent. I'm excited to see Downhill grow. So that's gonna be it for me on this episode of Writer's Block. If you're still listening at this point, please let me know, like in the comments or in my Discord, which is in the description, if you like some more creative topics to discuss on this show, or even some albums to review. If I listen to the album and I deem that it creatively stimulates me enough to make a video, I'll make a video similar to this one on it. So thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out Kez. I'm heading out. Peace.